Hey, we got a little something for y'all. Oh, I forgot. We can't go live on Twitter anymore because I'm not paying for Twitter. I think I paid for like a year. Bro, he's from a nice neighborhood. Where does it get real at?
I might swerve in the corner. Whoa, whoa, bitch, hold on tight, cause I tweaking this bitch, I letting shit go. And I heard that she wanna show. Whoa, me who she be, I'm kind of.
We should go somewhere where they play the song.
I mean, it's getting played out now everywhere.
Is it?
Locker rooms. I'm sure that, I mean, I don't go to the club, but I'm sure that it's getting played at the club.
Man, we should go to the club soon. Let's go get us a table and just sit out in the club and just get a bottle, right? And just sit there and sip the bottle and then just see where the night goes.
I'm sure that it's being played in strip clubs too. Like,
that sounded kind of suspect though, didn't it?
Us going out and getting bottles and just sitting in a corner.
And seeing where the night goes. Yeah, no, I didn't mean it like that. I just mean because think about it. Usually when we go to the club, because we're not club people, we get a section and it's a lot of us.
Yeah, it's a group of us for sure.
But if you and I wanted to hit, the club on a Friday night, Thursday night, Tuesday night, we'd get a table because we don't need a whole section, and we're not buying a section's worth of bottles because we spend our own money, not that.
Not Grandma Alice and Ron's.
Yeah, So wouldn't it be like $250 for a table, $300? I'd hope.
But it depends on what club you're at, because some of them don't even have like tables. Like they're like, it just depends on where you're at. Like, okay, I mean, Gentlemen's Club, for instance, if you're going to Cheetah's got tables.
Oh, I mean, you got to sit at the table, don't you?
No, I mean they have sections in there too, kind of. They're like sections, but they have tables. You know what I mean? But like that's an example, right? But like if you try to go to a compound, I'm not sure if. Yeah, okay, I know. I think I know what you're talking about, like a table. I don't know.
They're in the VIP area.
I feel like tables are more lounge than club.
Probably.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
And with inflation, the Atlanta club scene probably isn't really rocking with the tables because they rather just section it out because they want to make people feel broke.
Well, and then they'll just raise it to where the price is like the same.
It's like
in terms of your base level table costs the same as getting the section, and then they're like, you're just gonna want to get the section, the smallest one we have, because then you can at least get people in. We'll give you some rubber bands, and you'll have to get a bottle. But if you want just a table and it's just you two guys, we have a minimum here, a spending requirement.
Yeah, I mean, we want a table for 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to sit there in the club and talk to you all night.
Well,
call you.
Well, that would defeat the whole purpose of going out if that was the case, for the most part.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with why we're here. But hey guys, we've been on a little hiatus. Holidays. Man, it's holidays, man, and we didn't even say we weren't podding. We just knew we weren't podding.
Well, plus Christmas and New Year's both fell on Wednesdays. Like they literally were on Wednesday. So, and if you try and do, obviously the day before never works. Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and then the day after, it's kind of.
I'm hungover.
Yeah. So, it was what's understood doesn't have to be explained, right?
That's what they say. But how was your New Year's? What you do?
New Year's was great. I had the pleasure of somewhat bringing it in with Anthony Gambles. I didn't bring in the actual countdown with him. Okay. But we were together we watched the Boise State-Penn State game at Moe's and Joe's in the Virginia Highlands. Gambles got a couple beers. He was like, he kept asking me if I wanted anything. I'm like, Gambles, if you're insisting to buy me drinks, I will take them. But him and a couple of other guys I know, shout outs to Jareet and everybody in our Dog Nation Twitter chat room that I guess I'm a part of. So I actually ended up going to a bonfire in Decatur.
Okay.
To actually bring it in. It was I was the token because I was the only black dude there.
I'd say with some white folks there, that sounds like some good white folks activity.
Yeah, it was like 30 white people there, only niggas. There was no Hispanic, no Asian, no nothing. Yeah, I mean, I was literally the only minority there. I mean, not including women, of course. There were plenty of women, but like
women aren't minorities.
You say that to anyone that's a part of that DEI stuff. But anywho.
That's dope, man. I had an impromptu party at the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some liquor here, obviously.
Yeah.
And I told my friends, they're like, "What you doing?" I'm like, "Bro, nothing. At the crib." They're like, "All right, bet, here I come." And so they pulled up. Shout out to Shaw. He pulled up with the armory.
So they pulled up, hopped out. Bad bitches just popped out.
No, none of that. Now, yeah. None of that. We don't run that kind of operation up here, buddy.
Yeah, but that's them. They're the ones singing T.I.'s verse in Magic.
Well, now we got out. It was more so I'm outside of the club and these niggas think I'm a punk. So I go to my loaded Tech 9 and open the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
So we shot guns.
Yeah. You guys were bone crushing beers, huh?
Bone crushing beers and shooting 5.56, baby. It felt good to get out there, shoot some 40 cal, some 5.56. Just the smell of freedom, America. Yeah. That's how you bring in the New Year's in America. Drinking domestic beer, Mexican liquor, and shooting guns.
Yeah.
So just so people know, I live in the country. And like my backyard is the forest.
It's endless, guys.
I won't say endless, but it's a few acres back there.
Yeah.
I'll hit a deer before I hit a person.
Yeah.
Anyways, man, so we got an action-packed show for you all. There's so many things that we could recap, but we're not.
Yeah.
It's just been a juicy week. Because we definitely do need to circle back and you know what, we'll do that week before Super Bowl once we get the NFL awards. What am I talking about? We need to go back over our preseason stuff. Probably after the Natty, we'll put a bow on college football. Maybe that's gonna be weird because that's playoff season too.
Well, we'll still be able to give 30 minutes.
Yeah. We'll probably do a deeper dive on what happened to our Georgia Bulldogs and what needs to happen moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
But that brings us to we are all here to do what that's it.
That's it. No rise up, huh?
Nah, I wish I had the cricket still.
I got
Oh no. No. You know what's funny?
What?
I made this one right here for Joy Taylor. And this one too.
I got it out to feel.
No, that was something else.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
I made both of those for Joy.
Well, we'll get to put them to great use, especially once we get to her, because she's got a lot going on, apparently.
Yeah.
A lot.
So anyway, let's get to this Falcons conversation. So where do we start off with? Disappointment?
Yeah,
hold on. Let me not be biased. Parlay Pete, what are your thoughts on the Falcons season this year?
I mean, you really already just said it. That's the first word I think that comes to mind. Disappointment, underachieving, just flat out. And the way it ended, I think the way it ended just leaves an even worse taste in the mouth. Just bad football. I mean, those are the things to describe what it is that we had to go through for 18 weeks.
You know what hurt me
including the bye week.
You know what hurt me the most?
What's that?
this little graphic that they're parading around with Penix and his 300 yards and Bijan and his like 150,
150
and Drake London and his 150 or whatever. Yeah, and it's like, so if these three were capable of this or something close to this, I'm not gonna say why did you go get Cousins, because you don't know that when these moves are being made. But why do we wait so long?
Why did we wait so?
The money.
Yeah, but at that point, the money didn't even matter. If you knew you were gonna do it, then it didn't even matter when you did it. You know what I mean? Like, because it didn't, because one way or another, it doesn't really matter. Okay, the media now gets to say, okay, Cousins only played in 12 games. What's the difference between 12 and 14? It's like, you paid him $100 million guaranteed for 12 games versus them saying 14. It's not really a difference. So it's like, but now it gets back to the whole, what everybody was tripping about when we did draft Penix. I don't think anyone was mad because we weren't mad we drafted Penix. We were confused, because we drafted him so high and then we did just pay Kirk Cousins. That's what the confusion's about. It's not that, Penix is your future.
I got the answer. I came up with the answer as we've been sitting here. So I think Penix was the guy and Kirk was the backup plan.
And are you saying that they didn't know if they would be able to get him at 8 because they weren't going to trade up to get him?
They didn't know if they could get Penix at 8, but they knew they could get Kirk in free agency. Obviously, by the loss of our second round draft pick.
Right.
Hey, shout out to, thanks, Rich. Thanks for that one. Light punishment. Thanks. But no, I think Penix was the guy, but Kirk was the guarantee. And we ended up with nothing, right? And Parlay Pete, you know this. You've been at a kickback and you're expecting two to be there. You're expecting 2 of them to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know the second one's going to be guaranteed if she comes.
Yeah.
But you know she'll say she's coming. But then she fell asleep, right?
Yeah.
But you know, once she sees you, you're good. Then you got that other one that you want. Ish. She shows up early. So you spitting at her. And you know, you're social for the first 30 minutes to an hour. You text the other one, see where she's at. She's like, I'm on my way. I'll be there in a minute. So you take some time, and you go, oh, here she goes. She on that bullshit again. Because you know her.
Yeah.
And so you start shooting at the new shorty, at the one that you kind of want that's not guaranteed. Then the guarantee shows up. She ain't tripping about you hollering at shorty because she wasn't there. She know the game. But then you start hollering at her. You know what I mean? Start talking to her a little bit. She say some little jealous shit, but you know, whatever. And then you think you're going to work the room. You're going to go back and forth between the two because it's one of those type parties. You're there with your guy. So it makes sense for you not to just be cuffed up with a girl all night.
Yeah.
And you get that opening with both of them. You don't take it because you're having a good time with the guys. And you keep drinking. You get a little too drunk. They start talking to other people because you ain't talking to them. And you walk away with nothing. That's what we did.
That's crazy. It's only because the way you just described that whole story. I literally actually 2 years ago, I'm talking New Year's, a few days after New Year's, a very similar thing happened to me. Now, I did walk away with something. But the thing is that it's so relatable, A, because I personally have went through it, but then B, that's a great analogy for kind of what happened with the Falcons. Except in my case, I had somebody with me that I I had already slept with him, but like we were also friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I set it up to where, for one, okay, this other person I had no idea they wanted me. Had no fucking clue. Never had her. She's a smoke show. She was in town. Like, she doesn't even live here. And she just so happened to be in town. And then I was told by a buddy, hey, she wants you. I gave her your number. She's about to text you. Now, the unfortunate part is I've already got this person that I slept with that I'm friends with that was coming over, and this is late at night, too. This is like 1 a.m. So, this other girl, she's hitting me. We knew exactly what was going to happen. Because why do you want to hit me up at 1 a.m.? And lo and behold, my phone starts ringing, and I'm like, holy fuck. And because I already had one in the bag, I'm like trying to come up with like the greatest excuse, because it's like I can't really tell this girl to go home, because then I'll never be able to fuck her again, more than likely. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't try it because I was afraid to lose a guarantee,
the opportunity.
Yep. Yeah. But at the same time, I missed out because I started somebody else, and so that's how I guess I can relate it to it. But that was a great analogy, just in general.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I like how you worded that. But the key thing is, even for me, yes, I understood the desire to want to make Kirk Cousins earn his money. But at the end of the day, if you're an organization that's all about winning, you're going to do whatever's best to win. The Seahawks paid, and I know that it's not the same because of the money that's involved today, but it was different back then. The Seahawks paid Matt Flynn a ton of money, bro. Yeah, what was a lot for a backup quarterback at the time to come somewhere.
Now, remember, he went crazy in week 17.
Yeah, he had like 6 touchdowns. He like tied or broke the Packer record.
Yeah.
And he got paid all that money, and then they draft Russell Wilson in the 3rd round, and Pete Carroll makes the fucking call. He says, well, Russ looks better. He's played better. We're going to start Russ. And everybody's like, wow, they paid Matt Flynn and they're going to start Russell Wilson, their 3rd round pick. Rest is history. They're an instant playoff team. They go to the Super Bowl the following year and win it. Then they go back again. And then they're a consistent, competitive playoff team the rest of that tenure while he was there. He goes to 10 Pro Bowls. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and that's why quarterbacks are now getting overdrafted, because Russell Wilson was a 1st round talent, but back then, if you weren't tall enough, you get drafted in the 3rd round because, hey, you're missing a key feature.
And now we don't know how that's going to translate with 6'5", 6'4" linemen, along with 6'5", 6'6" guys on the line that are trying to bat the ball. Are you going to be able to see over them? Can you make that? Can you be just as accurate, even though you're missing 2 to 3 inches that we're looking for?
That's crazy.
Pause.
But think about that, because Johnny Manziel still may go 1st round because he was SoFi in college, but
he's elusive.
Kyler and Bryce Young, those guys don't go 1. They may not go 1st round. Maybe they're Heisman guys too, like Johnny was. They may go 1st round. But you could have seen those types of quarterbacks dropping into the 2nd or 3rd rounds if not for what Russell Wilson did immediately.
Absolutely.
And shout out to Pete.
Yeah, Pete got interviewed by the Bears today, apparently. But which apparently is the job he really wants. But yeah, it's crazy kind of how that works out, right? And so I think in our case, though, we knew what the plan was. The plan was, we're going to let this guy stew. We like what we see in the models that have happened in Green Bay, happened to the Colts for that little while until they started to go on their own quarterback carousel. But we like the model that Green Bay has. Let a guy sit behind a proven guy, and once we feel like this guy that we drafted is ready, we will start him. We will move on. No matter what it is, we're going to move on. The only issue is in our case, our guy was cooked and our other guy was ready from day one. And we knew it. That's actually might be the issue. We knew it. We meaning the Falcons organization. Falcons brass knew it. When Raheem stepped on that field, he knew him and Zach Robinson, they knew goddamn well that Kirk Cousins wasn't healthy. And that's why he fucking didn't take snaps until training camp. He didn't do any of the other stuff beforehand. He never was under center. And that's why we went a whole game without him basically going under center. And then he was running gun, something he never runs. We didn't run the most potent thing that this guy does is play action pass, and we ran no fucking play action pass. We dropped the game because of that dumb shit too, which gets back to why coaching is an issue as well.
Hey, that's the next bullet. We're gonna get there. You know what? Let's go there now. So, conversations we've had here on the pod, conversations we've had publicly. This disappointment of a season started in the off season. It started when we interviewed Bill Belichick twice. You get him
three times if you count him meeting Arthur Blank on his yacht, which was not considered an interview.
She came over to your house. She immediately took her shoes off. This is the first time. She asked for a pair of gym shorts or sweats, and y'all just kicked it on the couch. Cool. It's first time coming over. You want to be respectful. You know, she may just want to be comfortable. She comes back over the next time in leggings. You know, it's something comfortable, but leggings aren't like the easiest, most let me try to have sex with you for the first time, like pants. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You got it. Anyways. And you're still respectful, but the vibes are cool. You don't want to throw it off. Then the third time she comes over, she has on shorts. It's 45 degrees outside, and she came over in a hoodie, some shorts, and some Uggs, no socks. No drawers under those shorts.
And no bra under the sweatshirt. Once she took her sweatshirt off, it was just her shirt, and you can clearly see her nipples.
Yeah. And then y'all just kick it on the couch. And then a couple days later, you texting this one chick who's not her, but she's all right. Text another chick who, no, not all right, fire. Text another chick, fire. But it doesn't get too crazy. And then you end up blasting this other chick that
you had already slept with before.
You kind of knew what it was. You see some potential. But what you didn't know is shorty was burning. But because you had that level of comfort with her, you didn't even wrap it up and you just got burnt. It's not like life ended. She didn't give you HIV or the herpes. But she ruined the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to go take those antibiotics, man. And that's what we did. So now let me speak this in English. We had Bill Belichick. That's the baddie we had. 3 times came over. Let us know what it is. The other guys that we kind of talk to, that's Vrabel and that's Harbaugh. Then the guy we ended up with who burned us, Raheem Morris.
Was that chick that we already slept with? We had already slept with her. It had been a few years. Yeah,
remember,
sure.
Our partner slept with her, but it was years ago. She was super young, you know what I'm saying? So it don't even count like that because we was like 18. Bro, it wasn't even feelings involved, you know what I'm saying? She was around. Then she come join your team, you know what I mean? But like she ain't the main, but she's there on the roster. And then some stuff happens, and she gets some time as the main, but y'all both know this ain't what it is.
Yeah.
And then you got the girl of your dreams at your house. Yeah, you know she got a little bit of baggage, but you like the baggage.
When you nut up, you basically nut up is what you did. You weren't ready for the moment.
No. Parlay, we're cooking today, Parlay Pete.
And that's what ended up setting the tone for what was going to come.
Now, I want to put this out here to everybody listening. Throughout the season, we support Raheem Morris. We supported the hiring. And honestly, if we ended up with Raheem, if we would have kept Arthur Smith for another year, and then we cut bait with him and Terry after another disappointing season, which would have been amazing for me, because Terry's out of the building. And then we hired Ra in this coaching cycle, I'm not mad. And if
You
we would
wouldn't have been upset if we kept Arthur Smith and Bill Belichick was available?
No. I would be mad about that. But I'm saying if we hired Raheem in this offseason cycle,
yeah,
doesn't hit the same way it would have it did last year.
right.
And that was some of the letdown with the Raheem Morris hiring. Not that we didn't think he would be a good coach, not that we didn't think he would improve the team, because I think the team did improve in places, and the stuff that beat us were issues that are almost outside of the coach's control, in the sense of Younghoe Koo falling off of a cliff. I think Raheem was forced to play Kirk Cousins because all the talks was Raheem wanted Michael Penix when he was in LA. Him and Zach Robinson like Penix then. So they come to the building with the big Penix energy.
Right.
But the biggest Penix in the building, last name's McKay.
Yeah. And it's his franchise.
He said get Kirk. So, yeah. But we did win one extra game. I mean, one more than last year. We fought for the division to the last game. We definitely lost some games that we shouldn't have lost the last game. And with the combination of Penix and Cousins over the entirety of the season, we did get enjoyable offense. Not every week, but we see that Drake London deserves the contract that we think he's going to get. And we see that Bijan...
He's a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, and we see that Bijan's top 5 running back in the NFL. And Kyle Pitts is on the milk carton.
Brother, Kyle Pitts is going to be on layaway. All right.
Kyle Pitts is going back to the orphanage.
See who wants him, huh?
Yeah. And hopefully he gets lucky and that good family says, "Oh yeah, this you know what? You got some trauma, but you got potential. We're going to look past your trauma and we're going to capitalize on that potential. And we're going to turn you into Travis Kelce 2.0. Welcome to Kansas City."
Right. Well, you're going to be an excellent member to this family.
And then the Falcons fans are going to get mad because he's going to be better, and they're not going to realize that that's Andy Reid over there. Hey, real quick, while we're in coaching, we're going to go back to Falcons, but I was listening to Cowherd talk about the top coaches in the league. And he was saying, there's 7 great GMs, 7 great coaches, 7 great quarterbacks. Like, he's putting in 7s.
Mm-hmm.
In his top 7 coaches, he put LaFleur.
Okay,
Shanahan,
I'm not mad at that. Okay.
Shanahan, McVay, Andy Reid,
O'Connell,
Sean Payton. Did I already say Sean Payton?
No. You got 2 more. O'Connell.
Kevin O'Connell.
Okay.
Yeah. Then maybe Mike Tomlin. He didn't have Tomlin solidly in his top 7. And does Tomlin leave a little bit of food on his plate every year? No. He leaves dessert on his plate every year. Playoffs. Big dessert. Everybody knows we like big dessert, and that doesn't finish it.
But it's a Michelin star dessert.
Yeah, it's great dessert.
Yeah.
Just don't finish it.
It's actually one of the when people think of that restaurant, that's what they think of. They think of that dessert.
But during the season, those people who, like, when they eat chicken, the bone, you can't even tell it's a chicken bone when they're done with it.
Yeah.
That's what Mike Tomlin does during the regular season.
He cleans it up.
He gets everything out of that little wing that you can. Because think about it, Parlay Pete. The Steelers have not had elite quarterback play for about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
But their team has been so good that they've not really been in position to get elite quarterback play, an elite quarterback. They haven't been able to draft a quarterback because Mike Tomlin's so fucking good and they're not going to tank.
They went 3 games above their expected win percentage based on Vegas, which I know, like you said, we'll get to that at the end of once the Super Bowl and stuff is here and the awards have been given out. But and I have no idea. I don't even remember what direction we went in. I feel like I went under for sure on their win total. But
I think I went over because I couldn't go under Mike Tomlin at that number just because I think he's going to get 9 wins.
Yeah, it just, to me, it felt like in that division, it felt like it was going to be like their toughest or their hardest season to do it. Because if you do look at their division, I mean, I don't think we expected Cleveland to fall off the cliff the way they did.
No.
I think that it was that we could have looked at Cleveland and not been surprised that they finished in last. But because of how tough that division is, I know that I picked Cincinnati to win the Super Bowl and Joe Burrow to win MVP. I remember that was my prediction. But then again, nobody expected that defense to be that bad either. So,
yeah, the division was wonky, man. But listen to Mr. Turner over the last few days. This guy is such an entitled fan. And he's entirely too young to be this entitled as a Steelers fan. Because the Steelers, great rich history, but you only won Super Bowls with Terry and Ben.
Yeah, that's who's won you your rings.
And maybe you went a round or two deeper in the playoffs, but you're really just a win the division, get to the playoffs, don't win a Super Bowl franchise, except for when you had elite quarterbacks.
Well, and somewhat of the hype, no matter what their record is, in some cases, everybody will say, don't count the Steelers out.
Because they're a historic franchise that has consistently won, but you haven't consistently won Super Bowls. You won your 6 Super Bowls in 2 clusters.
And you won 4 of them in the 4 of them were won in the 70s period. So it's like if you get rid of that dynasty, you might as well be the Denver Broncos. You know what I mean? That's really what type of franchise you are. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're not even the Denver Broncos, because the Denver Broncos, they competed in the 80s, early 90s under Dan Reeves. They won the 2 in the late 90s with Shanahan.
Yeah, in Elway.
And then when Peyton gets there, they're good and they win 1. But they had two blocks.
No, but I get what you're saying, but I'm saying this is what I'm saying. They're like
the Steelers only have 1 block, but the Steelers only have 1 block from 05, 06 to 10. That's their Super Bowl appearance block.
But that's why I want to. And I know Denver hasn't they're making the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. But I'm saying, if you look at Denver though, okay, that post Elway, the back-to-back after they beat us when he retired.
Yeah,
Denver would go to the playoffs.
Yeah,
with Jake Plummer, they were going to the playoffs. I feel like
Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow. I feel like they went maybe once with Jay Cutler too, and so it's I say it just in a sense of, if you take away that rich dynasty, the Steel Curtain, Noel, Bradshaw, Franco, Stallworth, Lynn Swan, if you take away that part of their history, they're the Denver Broncos. They might as well be the fucking Denver Broncos, bro. They're a respectable franchise, but they're not really all.
It's Michigan football.
Yeah, it's not.
Take away the leather helmets. If you take away the leather helmets, pre-integration, you're a top program, but you're not
You're not really one of the elites.
Yeah. Historically, you get to be one of the elites, but like you're not a modern elite. And here's the difference. There are a lot of different handicaps back in the day that like made it way less fair. So it is worth discounting because the framework was so different. I mean, we're talking about the steel curtain. There was no free agency. You know?
Well, which is why the team is the way it is, because they just depend so much on drafting. Yeah. And look, the same thing happened to the Green Bay Packers, if we're being real.
Yeah.
You start off winning with Lombardi and
Barstar.
Yeah, Barstar. They have a rough patch for the most part, pretty much in the 70s and 80s. Like, nobody talks about 80s Steelers football. Nobody talks about Packers 80s football. Nobody talks about that shit.
Bro, they barely talk about 90s Steelers football when they were still getting to the playoffs.
Right, and they made a Super Bowl. They lost to the Cowboys one of those years, and but that was it. They had Rod Woodson, I think. I think Rod Woodson was on that team. I couldn't even tell you who the fuck the quarterback was, like, of the Steelers in the 90s. Like, there's nothing significant about the Steelers in the 90s. And so just kind of, and Green Bay became relevant, obviously, get Brett Favre from the Falcons. But and it's weird because it's kind of similar. Like,
both of
their organizations are similar.
All of the dynasties are like that. Think about the Cowboys. They had 70s. The run back in like the 70s. Or 60s, whenever the fuck that was, with Staubach. Then they had the Jimmy run. And they've been good in between and since, you know what I mean?
Well, they've won some divisions.
Yeah.
Cowboys have won, like, it's so crazy when you think about it. Since 2000 in this century, the Cowboys have only won like 2 playoff games. And we like witnessed them.
Yeah.
Like, we saw them. Like,
we were very coherent.
Yeah, but I can remember more Cowboys playoff losses and how they lost than as opposed
Romo
to
on
wins.
the botch kick, the Dez catch not catch, the Mason Crosby game,
the Aaron Rodgers game.
Yeah, the stupid Zeke
throw.
Oh God,
yeah.
That was beautiful. The Zeke stupid play against San Fran. What was it? Was it the Rams that beat them with the running when the running backs went crazy? Gurley.
Are you saying the year that
Gurley Super Bowl year?
The first time they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. When they're playing the Coliseum.
Yeah. So funny enough, I went to that game. Me and my dad.
Was that Rams?
Yeah.
Was that Rams Eagles or that Rams Cowboys?
It was Rams Cowboys. I went to that game. I'm telling you, I went. I was at that game.
I thought so because I remember you being in LA and I was in San Diego.
I forgot exactly why me and my dad were there. We were in LA I guess it was probably business, but there was something else I went to that week. But I went with him because he just decided last minute he wanted to go to the game. And I said, hell yeah. I said, I'll go to the game. But yeah, I went to that game. That's funny. Yeah. Todd Gurley did ran all over him.
And that other nigga.
I know you're talking about too. Fucking.
He was like out the league the next year.
Yeah.
No, we signed him.
We signed him?
I think so. He's a Georgia guy.
Hold on. All you got
not like a full. I don't think we signed him after that year, but I'm pretty sure he took snaps with the Falcons.
You are talking about.
I am
CJ Anderson.
There we go. Yeah. Denver Broncos.
Yep. You got a good memory.
Sometimes I do. There are people in this world who would say that I don't.
You know, this Dallas team should have, when I'm looking at it, they low-key were talented enough to beat this team. And I know that the Rams defense was stupid at the time. Like, this was a really good Rams defense. But I'm looking at their offenses. You got Jared Goff. Jared Goff didn't throw a touchdown in this game. Like, he threw for 186 yards. CJ Anderson had 123, 2 touches. Gurley had 115, 1 touch. And they were supported by Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, And that was really it. I mean, they still had Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett, but when you look at Dallas, it was Prescott, Elliott, Gallup. Gallup had 119 in this game. They still had Cooper. They had Dalton Schultz. They had Cole Beasley, Noah Brown. I remember a lot of people used to think Rico Gathers was going to be something in the league. And then Tavon Austin was on this. Like, this was that Cowboys team. Sean Lee,
Michael
Jalen
Gallup.
Smith, Van Der Esch, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Is Michael Gallup alive?
Randy Gregory. In the league, no. He's DeMar Hamlin.
Did he retire?
I don't know. I just don't think anyone picked him up. They were like, man, this guy's buns. Now, I'm looking at too, okay, but this Rams defense, they had Aaron Donald, Dante Fowler, because this is how we signed Dante Fowler. It was off this season.
Did you know Michael Gallup is from Atlanta?
No, I didn't. What high school?
Monroe. In Monroe, Georgia.
Well, that's closer to me.
Well, yeah, he was born in Atlanta, but he grew up in Monroe.
They had Akeem Talib, LaMarcus Joyner, and Ndamukong Suh, Dante Fowler, Nikhil Robbie Coleman, Michael Brockers, Aaron Donald, Marcus Peters. This was a pretty good Rams defense, I will say that. But
Akeem and Peters, that's nasty.
Yeah, that was a crazy duo actually at corner.
Apparently, a man tried to enter the Capitol today with some machetes and some knives.
Are they going to send him to jail for the rest of his life?
I'd hope so.
Yeah.
I'd hope so.
And not even because of bringing the weapons, but for being stupid.
Yeah. Back to these sad Falcons. I guess the last thing we could talk about is our inability to put together a real defense.
Well, that's what's been the issue the last 12 years. Like, that has been the issue. We've missed the playoffs 10 out of the last 12 years, and the issue's been the defense. Like, it is just something, and this is why organizationally, we talked about this, I think, yesterday morning or Monday morning. I forgot which morning, but organizationally, and that's why it starts at the top. That has been the issue. It doesn't really fucking matter if you fire Rob. It doesn't matter if you fire Terry in that regard. We keep this same identity, and there's one man to blame for it. And we've already talked about him.
It's two.
Well, two. Yeah, technically it's two. But one for sure.
One's doing it, one's allowing it.
Yeah. And that's what's been the issue. We haven't put anything into our defense. And I hate it for Bijan, Drake, and Penix in a sense of we've seen this story before.
We could have the triplets.
We just scored 38 points, bro, and lost a game at home by 6.
And deserved to lose. And we deserved to lose that game. Like, these were not – Carolina wasn't scoring fluky points.
No.
They were they were consistently moving the ball all game and scoring points.
They scored 27 points in the second half. We had a touchdown lead going into the half thanks to Michael Penix for getting the ball down the field and Drake London for making a great catch.
Then going back to it.
Yeah, well, and Zach Robinson, right, dialing it back up and said, throw that shit, do it again, basically. He was open. Just get it a little bit more in because he was open and he was going to catch it, and that dude can't guard him. Because the Carolina Panthers gave up more points in NFL history than anyone this year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. I didn't realize it. I'm like, wow, they gave up the most points in an NFL season. Look it up. They gave up the most points in an NFL season.
Did you see that Cleveland had a worse point differential than their 0-16 season?
Cleveland had this year, you're saying?
This year, they had a worse point differential than they did in their 0-16 season.
I got you. There's something, and we can almost come to a close even with the Falcons. This is what I want you to do, Lee. Can you get on your phone and type this in on Google?
God. I'm on Google.
All right. Type in oldest franchise in America without a championship. And I want you to read to the fine viewers of the AC Lee and Parlay Pete podcast what the answer to that question is on Google.
The Falcons are the oldest major sports franchise without a league championship.
Isn't that fucking disgusting when you just really think about it? Like, that should make a lot of people sick because, yeah, it's like, okay, the Detroit Lions haven't won a Super Bowl, and then everybody look at, and the Cleveland Browns, they haven't won a Super Bowl, but like they've won a championship. The Falcons are the oldest franchise across any sport to not have a championship.
The Hawks won in 58.
This is what I'm saying. We're the oldest franchise in the history in the United States currently without a championship. When does it end? When do we want this to end? Because it seems like we're just fucking saying the same thing every other year. Next year, you know what I mean? Next year, we can be this. We can do that. Like we're building towards something. They've been saying that shit for like 10 years, man. They really have. They've been saying it for forever. Like we're building towards something, and then it just never materializes.
I say the fans stop going to games. Not me. I'm not a fan. I go for show research.
You're a journalist.
Yeah. I go for journalism, drinks,
business,
and business. Yeah, I do. I handle a lot of business.
It's a company. Hey, that Amex covers that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
it's a business expense.
And then after the game, I have to go network and eat and stuff like that. You got to shake hands and kiss babies. That's more so.
Shit.
Yeah, I'm out here trying to get contracts. I'm in construction. If we don't get contracts, we don't do work. We don't make money. So I got to go shake hands.
Yeah.
But the fans, those of you who go there to support football, y'all should stay home. Arthur Blank doesn't deserve y'all's money. More importantly, Rich McKay does not deserve to have his salary paid. But too bad they have this media deal, so he'll be fine.
Well, and he's the head of the competition committee, so the NFL will be cutting him a check one way or another, right?
Yeah, I imagine he gets a little extra 100, 150K for that, right?
Yeah, well, it's all about making the rules, right? And his rule is do just well enough to where they'll have to come back and want to see more and not, let's just get over the top. Let's build this thing. They showed an interview of Dan Campbell when he first got to Detroit.
Uh-huh.
And he told the Ford family and the fans at his presser, he said, we're going to get this thing turned around. And, I don't know if you remember when he got hired, a lot of people kind of laughed at him because he was so like, how he is, basically.
Yeah, Mike kneecap.
Yeah. And, like, it's kind of crazy. Same thing with Nick Sirianni. People were laughing at him when he got hired.
I don't think he's good.
No, maybe not. But his win percentage says otherwise. You know that he has the highest winning percentage of current. I know he's only been a head coach like 4 or 5 years, but he has the highest winning percentage in the NFL, the head coach.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh second. Another guy that we passed up this past hiring cycle. And so I just guess, okay, my point in bringing up that even the Dan Campbell thing is this. People laughed at this man, and now everybody sees his vision because we brought somebody in that told everybody what they were going to do, what brand of football they were going to play with. He's got a hat, that Detroit hat, it says grit. And that's what the identity of the team is. They're a fucking gritty team. He established culture in a cultureless place. We've never had that. We don't have a culture. You want to know what our culture has been? The Falcon filter. Shit like that. Shit post Michael Vick has been what the culture of the Falcons is. And the only culture that I see, and this is even with Matt and Julio, like the teams I like, we're a finesse team. We're a soft dome finesse team. That's what we are. We never have any dogs on defense. We got good guys on defense. Grady Jarrett, he's a good player, but he's a good guy. He's a good human. He's from the city. He's got the Grady Hospital, Grady billboard because his name's Grady. It all works out. He's a pro. He's made Pro Bowls. He's our Man of the Year selection almost every other year. But he ain't no dog. He's not out here saying, man, fuck you, nigga. Like, he's not out here doing that.
Our team is a reflection of the city.
Yeah, flash.
It's flashy. It lacks grit. It lacks substance.
It scams people. That's what the Falcons are fucking doing. They're scamming folks. They're making you.
It's the strip club. You keep coming
that's what
back
the crowd
because
looks
she
like.
might let you fuck.
Yeah.
Just spend a little bit more money, and you'll get there.
Yeah. We're tricks. What? Like.
Well.
And that's what it is. That's why when you go to a Falcons game, you got a motherfucker dressed like me right now wearing a fucking leather jacket and shit, not wearing Falcons colors, not wearing a Falcon hat or something. Like, they're there to be seen and not heard.
And you got people with neck tats and hand tats sitting on like row 4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this ticket was not legally procured. Excuse me. This ticket was not procured with legal funds. You shouldn't be down here. Like, part of having good seats is to be away from the riffraff.
Well, you should be. The thought would be is you are either with the corporate white guy that makes a ton of money, but he supports the city or whatever. He's got his Falcons hat, his quarter zip or whatever on. That's who you're expecting to sit there, or you're expecting the diehard. The person that really does put their money into this because they are that big of a fan. They do make noise. They are there to watch the Falcons and not the other team.
And all of us have to go to work in the morning, so we'll talk shit and we'll have fun, but nobody's uncomfortable.
Yeah. You're not trying to fight somebody.
No. Yeah, and somebody who's been in an almost altercation almost every year. I've been a Falcon season ticket holder. Outside of one time where it was an actual misunderstanding. This guy thought I was talking about his wife. It's been hooks.
Yeah, I think you told me about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that man. He kept saying, "You don't keep disrespecting my wife." I told that man, I was like, "Hey," like he kept going. I wasn't listening to him at first, and he just kept going. I was like, "Bro, I ain't say nothing to your wife." He said something back. I was like, "Hey, well, look, man, you ain't keep doing that. I stand up when I piss." Then I took a nap. But nah, you want to talk a little college football? No, playoffs. Fuck college football.
Yeah.
See, we're at 53 minutes. Let's talk a little playoffs. You know, the Falcons didn't make the playoffs. I guess I could pull up the playoff matchups.
I know them off the top of my head. You got AFC. You got Buffalo, Broncos.
Coward said take the Broncos plus 8.5
points. Yeah, and I wonder if I haven't even looked at it. I know we're going to put our picks out to end this thing, but all right. I guess really once we get done previewing these, we kind of just do it that way.
Yeah, it will make no sense because we're not talking football, we're talking cans later.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I tell you what. As a matter of fact, because are you going to put the clip up?
I can if I'll go find it because I was gonna put up I was gonna do the Portnoy clip.
No. I mean the picks, and the only reason I ask is because if not,
I'll cut them.
Okay.
I haven't done that this season.
Okay, so I tell you what, let's just go in order of when the games are going to be on. So you got Chargers at Texans. Interesting game overall, right? Like, I think. When you look at that matchup, you're looking at arguably maybe the worst team in the playoffs. I mean, them are the Steelers, I guess, in Houston, but they get to be at home. And then you got a Chargers team that exceeded everybody's expectations, that is well coached. Certainly, I think that might be the biggest takeaway from them is that they're really well coached and they have a good quarterback. And he's played well this year.
Okay.
We're not doing the picks right now. I'm just going through the matchups. Oh.
I wasn't listening. What matchup were you talking about? The Chargers?
Yeah, Chargers at Texans to kick off our wild card weekend.
Oh, the Texans are losing that game.
They could. I mean, I think that what it really comes down to is CJ Stroud going to show up? It feels like he hasn't had a moment all year since I know they beat the piss out of the Cowboys on Monday night. That's like the last time they played a decent football game, though. And granted, you could look at him and you could say, well, Nico Collins missed an extended amount of time during the year. Tank Dell just went down like 3 or 4 games ago. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL halfway through the season. But Joe Mixon has been an admiration for them. He's been better this year than he has his last 2 or 3 years in Cincinnati.
You know why?
Why?
Because Cincinnati's fucking soft. Their coach has no grit about him.
It sounds like you're saying the Bengals or the Falcons.
Maybe. They play a soft brand of football.
And that's hard to do. That's hard to do in the AFC North.
But they do it. Joe Burrow. Here's the thing. T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase. That's hard to stop. You can beat them, but it's hard to stop them. They're going to win some fucking games because they're so good.
I'm trying to tell you.
Scored 60 in his last game.
And they won.
Bron
against a team that needed to win, too, by the way.
Bron just like switched hands and rocked the cradle in midair at 40 yesterday.
Yeah.
When you're good, you do good shit. And sometimes you win. But that's not necessarily a formula for winning consistently.
Yeah.
But give me Jim Harbaugh because he's going to run the piss out of the football. He's going to play physical football. And, yeah. I don't want Jim Harbaugh to win because so, guys, y'all know I have biases around here. And a lot of my biggest biases come from the media and who they love and who I feel like they overpraise. And Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh fall into that category. So I want to counterbalance them and I root against them. Now, if I give analysis on them, A1 analysis. Rooting interest, totally different. Same with Sean Payton. I want Buffalo to drop 50 on them.
You want it to look like that Mac Jones Buffalo Bills playoff game. I don't know if you remember that. They beat them like 52-10 in that game.
No.
That's the last time Bill Belichick coached a playoff game.
I want it to look like the end of the Vine comp on World Star.
Just straight ass, huh?
Oh, no. I was talking about the knockouts. Oh, excuse me. The fight comp. That's the fight comp. I like the fight. The Vine comp was jokes and ass, mainly ass shaking. Vine was really what reels are. Y'all don't understand. I know Vine don't even exist no more, but I'm telling you, Vine, that was a great time. Just ass shaking, boy shorts on camera, cheerleading shorts, no draws. Let me stop.
And then there'd be, the skits beforehand, of course. But why you always lying?
Do it for the Vine. I ain't gonna do it. Do it for the Vine. Man, look here. No.
LeBron James.
Do it for the Vine. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the shit that's on the Explore page now.
Yeah, that's the new thing. But ultimately, I honestly expect this game to be super competitive, and I'll get back to it once we finish wrapping this stuff up to give out my pick. But next game we got is going to be on. But before we move on, why is it that the Texans always get that 4:30? They're always the first playoff game. It's so crazy. They're always the 4:30 Saturday game
because they don't have fans.
Yeah, but you would think to open up the playoffs. I mean, everybody's still. That's not the prime time game. But everybody wants to watch the first playoff game because it's the first. We're going to know who moves on first, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of the point.
People got stuff to do on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Just think about it. If you were in high school, or you had the gym.
I might have a fucking basketball game on Saturday.
Like you got a game. Yeah. Like if you ain't on varsity, you playing. If you are on varsity, you probably it's Saturday. You probably get to the gym early and just sit there and kick it. You know what I'm saying?
That or even if you're JV, you played a game earlier, then the girls are gonna play, and so you just gonna stay to watch that.
And you probably didn't take a shower either, you nasty nigga.
Yeah.
A nigga done play 28 minutes of a 32-minute game and ain't took no bath and go put his jumpsuit back on his thing. He gonna get on some hoes.
Yeah. Silly nigga. You're not even on varsity. But Yeah, so that was just a little nugget I thought about Texas Chargers. I'm like,
I was about
why
to.
is that Texas game? And that's probably the least appealing playoff game of the bunch too.
Oh
in
yeah,
general.
it's not eye candy.
Yeah. Maybe if the Texans were fully at staff, it would be. But it's just gonna really be. All right, can we establish the run against the Chargers? If not, all right, well, CJ, throw that bitch up for Nico and let's see what happens. Like, it'll be interesting. But then later on that night, we get the third meeting between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. And talk about another team that's just not playing good football. They roll in losing 4 in a row. They lost a game at home where they started their starters against a team that needed to win. But that same finesse, soft, kind of non-gritty Bengals team comes in. T. Higgins gets hurt in like the second quarter. So you basically didn't even have T. Higgins. Chase Brown was out. Fucked me in fantasy. Thank you very much. But he's out. So then you have to rely on Khalil Herbert coming in, a guy that they picked up off the scrap heap like at the trade deadline. And so interesting game. They were at home and they lost that game. And they played pretty sloppy the entire game. They somehow stayed in it, but it's because the Bengals defense is so trash. So it's like you almost have to stay in a game at home when you're playing against a team that doesn't have a good defense. But
watch that game.
Yeah. It was the non-high scoring version of the Falcons-Panthers to me.
I mean, I caught some highlights. I saw a little bit here and there, but yeah, I was at a bar with no TVs.
Ooh, how was that?
It's actually a great experience because it forces you to be social.
I mean, you were obviously there with people. You didn't go to the bar by yourself.
No, but I do go to that bar by myself.
Okay.
Bro, I'm a weirdo. Like,
a little upscale though, has to be.
Yeah, it is.
If there's no TVs, I'm just saying. I mean, it's not a sports bar, so it's.
Bro, it's Cartersville, and like your cheapest cocktail is $12. Excuse me, your cheapest like single shot. Your cheapest liquor. If you're buying liquor, you're spending $12 on it. Okay.
Their lowest brand of tequila is Patron. Like that's the house almost. Is that what we're getting at a little bit?
Something like that. I don't even know what their house is, but yeah, it's not Jose Cuervo.
Right.
And most bars houses a step below Jose Cuervo.
Right. Well,
like they have. You're gonna have to come to the spot. For one, you need to come to Cartersville one night and just.
So honestly, that actually really is my plan. I'm gonna just come out there. I'm gonna just stay at your house. I'm gonna come. Do you think a Friday or a Saturday works better?
It honestly doesn't matter. I'll hit up the fellas because if you come up here, you gotta come shoot guns. We'll shoot some guns.
Did I bring my own?
If you want to, doesn't matter. There's plenty of space back here. And what we'll do is, we'll hit that one spot and we'll talk about it after the pod. But anyways, I think Baltimore can get got this week.
Well, but wait, now that's what I was about to say. But they're having to go to Baltimore against the statistical MVP of the year in Lamar Jackson, and you could argue he won't win Offensive Player of the Year because Saquon's going to win it. But like Derrick Henry certainly would be the runner-up for offense. Him or Jamar Chase. I mean, Derrick Henry. Isn't it crazy? Derrick Henry almost ran for 1,900 yards, and like niggas are just acting like that didn't happen. like he really didn't just do that.
Bro, niggas was saying he was washed this summer.
Well, yeah, because I think he had a couple of injuries last year, but he still had his 1,000 yards with Tennessee because he was on my fantasy team. But and he still had like 10 or 12 touchdowns last year too. It's just that's like the suckiest market he could have ever went to. But he'll always be an all-time great. His jersey will be retired there. You could argue
he might be the last.
I was about to say he had a better career than Eddie George there.
Depending on what Saquon does and CMC, Derrick Henry is the last no shit Hall of Fame running back that we're looking at based upon traditional running back Hall of Fame standards. And that, you know what?
If Bijan gives us 7 more years of what
he's in year 2. I know what you're saying.
It's early. Yeah.
But look at Zeke. Look at Le'Veon Bell. Both of those things were headed to the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
But, so here's what we may ought to do. Maybe we should take some time and have a conversation, and maybe we don't get into like the actual numbers, but the statistical profile of players, because in the summer when we don't have shit to talk about and it's like a culture hour pod, maybe we talk about what does the new Hall of Fame criteria look like based upon the evolution in the game, specifically for quarterbacks, right? Because we got to raise some of the standards for what we allowed in.
Yeah.
For running backs, we have to drop the statistical standards because they're not getting the opportunities. And then the receivers, and this just may be a culture conversation, like football culture, how they make the receivers wait and they're not letting niggas in.
I was about to say that might be the hardest position to crack in the NFL at this point. Chris Carter, not Chris Carter. I mean, we know why.
No, Chris Carter waited.
I know, but I'm saying, yeah, but I was about to say, it took Terrell Owens, was it his third try?
I think so, yeah. He waited 3 years.
Come on. Come on, man. Come on.
Both of them. Like, they were like top 3 in 2 of the major stats, receptions, touchdowns, and yards, and they had to wait. At no other position does that happen.
Don't you think, though, too, in their case, both of them had off-the-field issues in a weird way to where that probably contributed? We know why T.O. basically said, fuck the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
With Chris Carter, I mean, honestly, I think he had like a coke problem, too.
Yeah, but that was before he became great.
I'm just saying they might still hold that against him.
I mean, Shannon Sharp waited.
Yeah, his brother still isn't in.
And Shannon Sharp retired as the greatest, the statistical winning profile, the best tight end ever when he retired.
Yeah.
When it was time for him to go in the Hall, niggas was like, okay, maybe Tony is this and that, but Shannon was all like, Tony had not eclipsed Shannon because Tony didn't have the winning in all the records yet when Shannon retired. You know what I mean?
So this is why I even brought those two up, because I'm thinking of the next wide receiver that's going to get in, and it's Larry Fitzgerald. And like Larry Fitzgerald, they're probably going to let him in first ballot, though.
He should.
But I'm just saying, he will be like an exception to that wide receiver rule, because Torrey Holt's still not in. Like, there's so many guys that still aren't in.
And they
like a guy like Fitz is going to get in. Like, he's going to get in first ballot because he's a good guy.
He's a good guy, fan favorite.
He's the best player in that franchise's history.
And we watch, like, football watch Fitz, right? He was a ball boy for the Vikings. He was raised by Randy and Chris Carter. I mean, he got to go to the Heisman ceremony out of Pittsburgh as a receiver.
He was on the cover of the first NCAA football game I ever got. He was on the cover.
I mean, I'm a big Larry Fitz fan. And then he went to Arizona. He was just a constant professional. He was great every year in, year out. He was just fucking amazing.
Yeah. I
kind of liken Larry Fitz, not saying their games are similar, but Larry Fitz and D-Hop as receivers who it doesn't matter what else is going on. You know what you're going to get from them.
Something that we were hoping was true with Kyle Pitts. Go ahead.
Yeah, but we got to get out of this one because we're
we got playoffs to hurry up and get.
Yeah, but like
we got a lot of joy to talk about.
Yeah, titty boy. But D-Hop, I don't care about the numbers. He's a Hall of Fame receiver for this generation. We watched it.
Yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer. Anyways, let's get back to the playoff matchups. You got them.
Yeah, but just quickly on the Ravens-Steelers game, it's always interesting when a team plays each other a third time. Now, obviously, they split both of theirs, but the second game wasn't competitive between them. And then the first one, the Ravens kind of really could have won that game. They lost by 2. Justin Tucker missed a couple field goals. Lamar threw an interception that was like that he shouldn't have thrown. Like, if you remember, it was like a crazy play by the Steelers. Like, they got the pick and
yeah, his receiver kind of messed it up, and the linebacker or somebody caught an interception they had no business catching.
Yeah. So
Like
it'll
Lamar,
be
Lamar only threw one legit interception all year.
yeah. So it'll be an interesting game, just because it is a division rival and anything can happen. So yeah, but that'll be the Saturday night game, and then you creep into Sunday, and you get to that 1:00 game, and it's the
1 second. I got to get this off.
okay.
Lamar is going to lose MVP this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be 2011 NBA. Fatigue from winning MVPs and under-delivering in the playoffs.
LeBron James.
But had the best season. And then this other guy who had a good season. But when we look back at this 5 years later, we're going to go, yeah, we fucked this up.
Who stole it from him in 11?
Derrick Rose.
Ah.
And the vibes, like, don't get me wrong. In 2011, I was a LeBron guy, and I thought LeBron should have won MVP.
Then the Bulls won like 60 games that year.
Yeah. No, it made sense why Derrick Rose won the MVP and the feeling and how he brought Chicago back, this and that, Chicago's own, all of that stuff. But LeBron was the best player in the league, and they just didn't want to get a nigga the MVP because he left, and then he didn't win a championship, and it's like, bro, we're not gonna keep giving you MVPs if you're not gonna win championships. Sorry, but back to the next game. I just want to get that take off because, I don't know, Parlay Pete. This show we're doing right now, this is one we send into FS1 because they might need some new personality soon.
I think that they are, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But the next game,
hey, if they offer us, we got to go to LA. Fuck everything else.
Yeah, man, I'll go out there where it's like burning up right now. Shout out to the Los Angeles Fire Department. I know a lot of people don't notice the details here, but shout out to them. I know that they're doing all that they can, and I know quite a few people. Courtney's actually been affected by it. That shit. Yeah. Did you saw the story? Yeah, I called her. We talked earlier.
Is she okay though?
Yeah, she's good, but she had to move. She had to leave her house. Like she had to leave because it was that close to her. So
I got a conversation about her for you to relay to her a little bit later.
Okay.
Off pod.
Okay. But that next game, of course, is the person that we do presume is going to win MVP, with the Denver Broncos headed to Buffalo Bills to take on Josh Allen. Now, the argument, Dan Orlovsky honestly laid it out as well as you could for why he's going to win, why he's going to win, not why he should, but why he's going to. He has done it with less around him, for sure. There were 9 Pro Bowlers on the Ravens, which is a fact, and then there's only 2 on the Bills. So it's kind of like it makes a ton of sense. I mean, it makes sense from the term of most valuable in terms of elevating your teammates, right? Like LeBron kind of used to do that in Cleveland, like that, like the first stint. That's what LeBron was doing. Like he was elevating a bunch of trash around him. There ain't really no niggas.
No. The second stint in Cleveland too. No.
Well, Kyrie and K-Love.
Kyrie left.
He did eventually, but I'm saying
he's still in the finals.
But he was still there.
No, but.
And Caleb, regardless of what everybody, just like Chris Bosh, people have got to remember how good these guys were when they had their own teams. They were bad teams, but these were 25-12 dudes. Like,
I'm with you.
Yeah, but anywho, should be an interesting game. I mean, Sean Payton back in the thick of it. Bo Nix, putting on a good argument for Rookie of the Year. He won't win it, but like put on a hell of an argument in the second half of the year, no doubt.
49-7.
Are you saying that that's going to be the score?
Bills stomp a mud hole in Sean Payton's ass. Although, I would not be disappointed if the Bills lose, Josh Allen plays poorly, then Josh Allen wins MVP. I won't be mad at that.
Would it be like when Dirk lost in the first round to Golden State and then he won MVP?
Yeah,
something like that.
That's something I wouldn't mind seeing. And again, this is me hating media narratives.
Yeah.
Because people
Look,
want
they beat the Chiefs and the Lions this year, though.
But people want to tell me that Josh Allen is better than Lamar Jackson, and I say, show me where and how.
He had a 3 passing touchdown, 3 rushing touchdown performance. He had
what the hell happened when he saw Baltimore? What happened when he saw Baltimore? That nigga saw ghosts. That nigga turned into what's my man's name? Sam Darnold last week, or Sam Darnold for the Jets, or Sam Darnold for Carolina. That's who Josh Allen was against Baltimore.
Yeah, but he also had a game where he ran for a touchdown, he passed one, and he caught one. Everything sets up for him. I'm just saying. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If that Ravens-Bills game had happened 2 weeks ago, I bet that the narrative would change.
He's fluid.
If that game had happened 2 weeks ago, it would have changed. Because it's kind of similar to last year. If the 49ers had beaten the Ravens, if the 49ers had won and Brock Purdy had played well, Brock Purdy would have won MVP last year. They would have given it to him. It would have been his award.
Recency bias. Just think of Lamar done threw 40 touchdowns, threw for 4,000 yards.
Ran for almost 1,000. He got 900.
Ran for 800. He got
9. He got to 9.
Oh, 900. He got 4 interceptions. 3 of them were drops. Like, not questionable. No, like the receiver bobbled the ball and it got picked off.
Yeah, I think he has the 4th highest QBR ever, behind 2 Aaron Rodgers seasons and 1 Peyton Manning season, which is insane.
All right. Nobody has won and played this well and not won MVP. Now,
Agreed.
Joe Burrow arguably played better, but he didn't win. He's not going to win MVP. And
he's not in the playoffs.
And honestly, it's bullshit because Joe Burrow lost games because his team sucked. He didn't have
baseball is the only sport where you can have a great statistic season and not make the playoffs and win MVP.
Because in baseball, we can comfortably say it's not your fault.
Yeah, because you're one man. Like Mike Trout's got, and granted, Mike Trout's a great baseball player when he's healthy, but he won numerous MVPs, and it was like, man, the Angels weren't in the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean?
But in football, because we give quarterbacks so much credit for winning, we end up giving them too much blame for losing. When if you look at the scores of the Bengals games, Joe Burrow doesn't have trash stats. He doesn't have garbage time, mop up Matt Stafford line stats. Joe Burrow kills, and his defense gets killed.
Yeah.
It's like when you're playing Mortal Kombat and you got to go to round 3 and y'all fight to the very end and both of y'all are like in the red.
Yeah.
And then you get hit. You know what I'm saying? But the difference between Mortal Kombat and what Joe Burrow's doing, Joe Burrow on the sideline watching.
He won that first round.
Yeah. And then defense killed him. You know, it's like losing a tag match. Edge been killing shit. Then Christian got stunnered. What Edge supposed to do? Ain't my fault we lost. I ain't get stunnered.
Exactly. But with the Bills-Broncos game, I do expect obviously that home field does mean something, especially against a team that's got a rookie quarterback. I can't recall. Actually, I want to say that the last time that a rookie quarterback won a playoff game on the road, if I'm not mistaken, it was Russell Wilson. He was the last person to do it. He did it that first year in Seattle, and then they came and played us the next week and almost beat us. We ended up prevailing. But, yeah, so you start talking about very rarely does a rookie quarterback win their first playoff game on the road. It just doesn't happen. So that should be an interesting match, though, because I like the idea of Sean Payton going in there and basically trying to outsmart the elements and the team and the presumed MVP. Should be an interesting matchup. But then you slide on down to 4:30 on Sunday, and then we get into the NFC portion of the playoffs. You get the Green Bay Packers at the Eagles, and boy, oh boy, when I get to the picks, everybody's going to be shocked about how I feel.
Taking the Packers. You're taking the Packers.
I sure the fuck am, because I saw it happen last year. They entered as a 7 seed. Now, granted, they were a little bit hotter going into the playoffs last year because they kind of won out to get in, to get that final spot, and they were lucky enough to play against the Dallas Cowboys, which is a team ideally you would want to kind of play against in the playoffs. That is the type of team you want to play in the playoffs. But Green Bay's people travel, and granted, Philly, tough environment. But that's a team that's, I don't know. Jalen Hurts practiced for the first time today. He hasn't played football in 2 weeks. If Green Bay can stop the run, Green Bay's going to win the game as far as I'm concerned.
But they have Quay Walker playing middle linebacker. I know how you feel.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Have you ever had a concussion?
I never diagnosed actually with one, but I feel like I've had one, yeah.
As somebody who's been diagnosed with a concussion, I could tell you the last thing I'd want to do 2 weeks after a concussion is read defenses and throw the football. And not to say that I don't know if the severity of my concussion and Jalen Hurts' concussion are on the same level. I don't know.
He's been out 2 weeks.
I don't know if our resiliency is the same way. I don't know. There were common things that I normally did that I was able to do despite the concussion feelings.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, before I officially knew that I had a concussion, that day of, oh man, it was bad. It was super bad. And then even days, weeks later.
Is this when you were playing kickball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dog, you just get random parts of the day and your head just gets foggy. I knew that concussion was bad because my Aunt Trisha, she was at the game and she texted me a couple of days later to see how I was doing, to see if I was okay. I was like, oh man, that collision must have looked terrible. But you know what? I finished the kickball game, and I do believe I kept drinking seltzers because I'm irresponsible times. Didn't know I had a concussion. Once I found out I had a concussion, I was off to booze for the amount of time that the doctors told me to. Okay.
Tell the truth.
I am.
Well, I got that from the concussion movie with Will Smith playing the doctor. Yeah.
I ain't watched good shit, but
well, that was always in the previews. They would just show him putting on his African accent. He's like, tell the truth.
I think Philly's the best team in the NFC. I don't like to say that, but
they're the most complete team.
Yeah, I mean their Achilles heel is their coach.
And you said earlier who the top 7 coaches were, according to Colin Cowherd, and Green Bay's got one of the top 7 guys. That's why I think an upset's brewing. Don't at me, but once I get to the picks, obviously I'm explaining it now, but I like Green Bay. I think Green Bay's gonna win this game.
Give me another NFC pick. After the playoff picks, I'm gonna need you to banter about whatever, because I got to tinkle.
Okay. Well, here I'll quickly go through the Commanders. So next game that night, Sunday night, we get Commanders Bucks. I think it's a really interesting game because that Bucks defense is Swiss cheese. So
give me the Commanders.
Well, I'm not saying I'm gonna pick them. We'll get to see that here shortly, but. I tell you what, that game's going to be high scoring.
That's going to be that may be one of the best watches of the weekend.
Yeah.
Just from watching exciting football. Did you see the interview with what's the head coach's name? Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles.
The Todd Bowles interview about the Mike Evans play.
No, what did he say?
Let me see if I can find it real quick. So, for those of you who are watching this or listening to this, I assume that you watch football and know that the Buccaneers ran a play that they didn't need to run to ensure that Mike Evans got his 1,000 yards for the 11th straight season.
And his $3 million bonus.
No, $1 million bonus.
Well, all right, whatever. $1 million.
Let's see, what's his name? Todd Bowles. Mike.
Last year they interviewed Todd Bowles about playing the Detroit Lions, and the interviewer was this chick. He started talking about you wonder how people get jobs and sleeping around, but I guess we'll get to that a little later too. The chick asked him, how's the team getting ready to prepare to be in Detroit? It's going to be really cold and should be snow. How's the team prepared? You know, Todd Bowles, he kind of with his like teeth shut. He's like, well, he's like Detroit. They play in a dome, and the only time we're going to have to step outside is, you know, when we arrive off the bus and go into the stadium. So I don't think it'll be that much of a factor. We're kind of just running everything the same way we do. But the chick like asked the question and like really thought she knew what she was talking about. So crazy.
You know what? I'm a Todd Bowles fan. You know, his career started at Morehouse. And, you know, he's just one of the few black coaches that can keep his job for more than a year.
Well, he keeps winning his division. And I'm not saying he was served it on a platter because it took time after Brady obviously left. But obviously the Brady years, he was going to win. They were going to win.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just happy for him. Like, I hate that the Falcons lost the NFC South. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But if anybody's going to win that division, I want it to be Todd Bowles because he's a defensive coach, and they're trying to get rid of defensive coaches. He's a black coach. Black coaches don't always get a fair shake. So to be a defensive coach and a black coach, to see him win,
if you ask Julian Turner that, it's in Pittsburgh. But go ahead.
Well,
they keep.
He thinks Tomlin's a DEI hire.
Yeah.
But here we go.
It was me $1 million.
Ball gave you a game ball, but it was ostensibly because not only did you get Mike the record, but the risk you took to get Mike the record was.
Hold on, my phone rang.
You know,
knowing what was all at stake there.
No, I was just hoping it was complete, and you know, I think Mike owes me $1 million.
Ball gave you.
He was talking through his teeth.
Yeah, that's how Todd Bowles be talking. But yeah, that should be probably the most entertaining game, and I think that's why NBC wanted it as the Sunday night game because that should be the most entertaining game. Maybe not the best, but the most entertaining.
I mean, Mike, you look at Jaden Daniels, man. He's out here against Baker Mayfield, and they're going to sling the ball all across the field, man. It's just going to come everywhere. Just balls flying, you know. This guy, Mike Evans, look at this guy. He's 6'5", built like a brick shit house, and he just catches balls like he's Superhead on a video shoot.
And then I can be Mike Tirico, and I'll come in. You know, and when we talked with Baker's dad, he was talking about how he grew up, he really, really, really liked Brett Favre, and now we see it all on the field today.
I'll tell you about Brett Favre. Brett Favre, man, he could sling the ball from Mississippi to Alabama. You know, this is the type of guy who can just walk into City Hall. He can just walk into the governor's mansion. He can just walk into the Capitol building, get as much money as he wants, Mike. Let me tell you, Mike, Brett Favre, he's a scammer. He's a thief. He's a snake son of a bitch, but that boy can fling a football.
He's like, Chris, you going to step out back and smoke that Camel?
Well, sorry.
Oh, you got a pack of Cools over there, I see.
You know, I like my cigs, but you know I like even more? I like Patrick Mahomes. I'll give up cigarettes if I could smoke Patrick Mahomes.
All right, and then we get to the real broadcast with the Monday night game, which I think the NFL should
you talk about the only color guy who actually criticized the quarterback?
Well, just the best broadcast team in general. Play-by-play, color, however you want to put them, regardless, the best duo. We get them on Monday night, which I really do wish that they would change that. I want the NFL to go back to 3-3. I get it expanding to Monday, but I think it's unfair to the teams that play on that Monday because they get a shorter week. And
I would like a game in that 1 o'clock window personally.
Yeah. I don't know. But you get the Minnesota Vikings headed to the Rams, which is a rematch of a Thursday night game, actually.
Are you on dad duty this weekend?
So I have no.
All right, let's pick one of these days and watch football somewhere.
As long as it's not like the ice and stuff. Yeah, I'm down. Sunday we should be good.
Oh yeah. I was thinking Sunday, honestly.
Yeah, Sunday we should be good.
I was thinking Sunday at 10.
I mean, count me in. But Vikings Rams should be a really good game. This one actually, by the odds, is the closest in spread. The spread is 1, so it's basically a pick 'em. The Rams kept being talked about as that team that nobody wanted to face, apparently. I don't know why everybody keeps giving them that moniker.
Because they're on their knees for McVay.
Yeah, and maybe
he's a great coach, but he's a media darling.
Yeah, and then maybe I guess Stafford winning that Super Bowl, and I don't know. They do have the weapons. Like, I mean, they got the weapons for sure. But like
they have Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua.
Yeah, but 60% of the stadium is going to be wearing purple, and so like, it's hard to win a home game on the road. You know what I mean? And so you know, but yeah, those are going to be all of our super wild card weekend is what they call it now because of Monday night. Those will be all of them, and once you're ready, I'll go ahead and put these picks in. Or do you want me to fodder more on the air and you use the bathroom? Then
go fodder. Yeah, go fodder.
Okay, we'll do. Yeah, super wild card weekend should be super duper interesting. Pun intended too. I know I threw a lot of supers in there with the Super Bowl, super wild card weekend, and super duper fun. But yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued by it. I think that we've got a few good matchups, particularly in the NFC. The AFC, it feels like it's a little bit more, you know, locked in of who's going to win these games. But all in all, I mean, I think I'm going to like this. I think I'm going to like this a lot. Kind of crazy. There's only one home dog for the wild card weekend too, and everybody's going to think I'm crazy because once we do get to the picks, I'm actually going to take that home dog. And I guess we'll get to see who said home dog is. But, yeah, I expect there to be some really good football play this week. I know I'll be watching. I hope everybody else is too. While I try and sit here and actually put together what my parlay would look like. Because, I don't know, it should just be really interesting, but we'll see. We'll see exactly how it ends up playing out.
All right, we're bike.
We're bike.
Are you doing college picks or just NFL?
Just NFL because the one college game tomorrow and the other one's Friday. I could do.
I'm not. It probably won't be cut up tonight.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Parlay Picks NFL 666.
All righty. For anyone that was actually tuning in and isn't just watching this clip, I already kind of explained them, so I'm going to go through it, especially because I know we're on a time crunch. And we spent a little bit longer than we should have. Anyway, you get the Chargers at the Texans to kick off Wild Card Weekend, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the second biggest upset of the week. I like the Texans to honestly win this game again, just like they did last year against Cleveland. They were dogs. I called it then. I'm calling it now. Give me the Texans on the money line. Next game, you got Pittsburgh at the Ravens. Nothing that the Steelers have done has convinced me that they are a team that's going to win. I think that this is a, old Yeller moment probably for Mike Tomlin. Unfortunately, he's not going to get fired. I think that there will either be a mutual parting or he'll agree to a trade. Give me Baltimore minus 9.5. I actually like them to cover the spread. I like them to win by 10. Next, then we get into Sunday. You got the Broncos at the Bills. Really super duper interesting game for Super Wild Card Weekend. We're going to go under 47.5. I think that that's just a little high, honestly. And I know that the Broncos score quite a bit of points, but I think with that weather and the type of game I expect it to be, I think the air is going to be taken out of the ball. So give me the under. I like under 47.5 and Broncos Bills. Next, we get to the NFC portion of the playoffs. We got the Green Bay Packers at the Philadelphia Eagles. So I was going to be big balls here and just take the Packers money line, but just give me the points. We'll take the Packers plus 4.5. I think that that's a bit much for a team that's got a quarterback that will have not played in 3 weeks, assuming that he does play. And I think that the Packers are gamers. So give me Packers plus 4.5. Then next we got the Commanders Bucks. This game has overwritten all over it. Tampa doesn't have a good defense, and the Commanders can't score points. We've seen that several times this year. I think this will be the most entertaining game of the week, but I like over 49.5. So give me the over in Commanders at Bucks. And then finally we get to Monday night. We get the Vikings at Rams, a rematch. I believe in Sam Darnold, but to be completely honest with you, I still think that this was a bullshit fluke type season. I like the Rams to win, so give me the Rams money line at home.
Hey, what's that Bucks Commanders number?
Over 49.5.
All right.
I expect the cannons to be going off, and I expect Jaden Daniels to be going off.
All right, so we got Texans money line, Ravens minus 9.5, Broncos at Bills under 47.5, Packers plus 4.5, Commanders at Bucks over 49.5, and Rams on the money line.
Yep.
You like it? I love it.
And when you love it, that means it's time for
Leaves 3.
Leaves 3.
Leaves 3. Hey, so for Leaves 3 this week, we're gonna go with give me the Texans on the money line. I like that. You know what? I earlier said Harbaugh's gonna beat the shit out of them, but you know what? You give me picks, I gotta take one. I want the Texans to win, and that's why I'm taking them because I'm rooting against Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. Ravens minus 9.5. Yeah, sign me up. Sign me up.
Yeah.
I want Lamar to go crazy.
I just think that they get smoked. I mean, I don't know. I don't see a world where they don't.
And then lastly, man, give me that Commanders at the Bucks over 49.5. They're not playing defense.
Real solid there. And if you wanted to do a bonus under Leaves 3, I think that Notre Dame is going to be playing Ohio State in the national championship. That's what I think is going to be the natty.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, we can throw that under the bonus there.
Hey, it's there for you. Take it if you want it. And just so you all know, that gives you 5 bets if you think about it the right way.
Yep, sure does.
Really, you could parlay it into 6.
Well, you could technically make it 8.
True. Yeah, But anyways, guys, hey, we got to get to some culture. Hold on, let me unzip a little bit. Open it up. When's the last time Twitter's been this fun?
It's been a minute, but I hadn't been on Twitter for so long, and then I kind of recently once I deactivated my Instagram, I don't know. I latched on to Twitter because it kind of was giving me parts of what Instagram did, which was news, and that's as immediate as it gets. Like news? Twitter, no, not the Joy Taylor special for her boss. News. It kind of is instant and breaking on Twitter typically. Like that's typically the first place you will see some news now, because all it is you twiddling your thumbs and pressing send, and it gets sent off. So. I enjoy Twitter because it's news, and then it's a bunch of debauchery on there too. Everything that gets posted on Instagram and stuff typically comes from Twitter. So it's like, I don't know, the algorithm works. I see like hot chicks. I see funny ass shit. Like, I don't know. I love Twitter.
Fair enough. So lawsuit gets filed. Was it Sunday?
Yes, because it was in the middle of like when the games were going on. Because everybody was like, "Why is Emmanuel Acho not tweeting about football?"
So lawsuit comes out, class action lawsuit against Fox, some executives there, and also some members of the staff, members of the staff there, and former members. So the headlines are Skip Bayless and Joy Taylor. You want to start with Skip or Joy?
Let's start with Skip, because I feel like that one gets swept under the rug because of so much that goes into Joy.
Yeah, well.
I didn't even try and set that up either.
You know what? The crazy thing is, I'm comfortable saying not enough has gone in her.
Oh, how do you know? Hey, there was just 2 people named in that lawsuit. We don't know. There might be some niggas over there that are like, "Whoo!" Like
there may be someone I know who hasn't been in there. So never enough, right? Not enough.
You've seen Don't Be a Menace, right?
I have.
So you know the scene where not Bernie Mac, who's the guy? I think it's fucking what's that fat nigga's name? Faison Love. You know, he's like the barbecue chef at the wherever they went to eat, and like he's like taking a piss like in the cup, and it's like he was like, I think I got what's her face pregnant, and then he's like, yeah, no, he said what's her face is pregnant. Dashiki. He's like, Dashiki's pregnant. And then the nigga, he was like, he started to tense up. And then he's like, but I think it's mine here. He's like, woo, woo. That's literally what we were just talking about there with Joy in terms of you're saying us not knowing who's in. I'm saying, well, I bet there's a bunch of niggas out there that are wiping their forehead right now, not being named in it.
So I probably should know the hairstylist's name, but I don't, and it's not really important to our conversation.
No.
But long story short, hairstylist, she files a lawsuit against Fox and people who work there and have worked there. And so Skip Bayless was one of the people. Allegedly, Skip Bayless made some advances at this young lady and even offered her $1.5 million to sleep with him. Now, Skip was getting killed for this. And on the surface, as a married man, I don't know how you move 1.5 million without a conversation unless you already have an agreement. That's for starters.
Or it's a bank account that your wife knows nothing about.
True, but that's a lot of money to keep hidden from like your wife. But maybe it's done. I don't know. I don't have that kind of money, so I don't know. And people were trying to make it seem like, hey, he's paying 1.5 million to have sex with her once. It's like, no, bro, this is a stipend, a big stipend. But the more and more I think about it,
I don't believe that he offered that.
I don't believe he seriously offered $1.5 million.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
He may have joked about it, but $1.5 million doesn't get this lawsuit filed.
More importantly, that's chic shit. Like, that's what the sheiks out there in Qatar, like, that's what those guys are doing. They might do that.
If he was willing to pay 1.5 for an up and up relationship, he's got to be willing to pay 2 to get her to shut up and not go forward with the lawsuit, right?
Well, Jason Whitlock said it best. I thought, obviously, you know, now I'm a huge fan, but he brought up the idea of his dad and what his dad told him, and that, you know, once you fuck with somebody on the job, it's like now you're working for them, and so I don't know.
I got something for you on that, right? So we can talk about workplace dynamics. And this happened to me, not happened to me. I did this many, many, many years ago, right? I engaged in an inappropriate workplace relationship. Consensual.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I had relations with someone who once worked for me. And it really does change the dynamic. Because now you're treating you're walking on eggshells with this human being. You want to make sure that you can maintain their mood, their spirits, right? Like if they mess up, you may not come down as hard on them, not because you like them. It's because they got dirt on you.
Yep.
And then when they're upset, and here's where it gets weird, because I remember one of the most stressful parts for me was said individual like reached out to me to like link up again. I'm like, nah, you know, we can't do that. Like, it happened, but like, this is not like an ongoing thing. You know, hell no, I can't do that.
Right.
And then even like, I don't like how you only talk to me on your other phone, but you don't hit me up on your main phone. Well, there's reasons for that. I'm protecting myself.
Right. And then you almost have to sell it as I'm protecting you too.
Yeah, but that person had way less to lose than I did because I was in management and I would have gotten in trouble and she probably got a slap on the wrist.
Right.
But then another situation that happened around I've got to tell you that story. Another situation that happened around that time, there was also another individual who worked for me who had expressed her interest in me to some peers, and years later, the peers told me that she wanted to engage in a sexual relationship just so that she could blackmail me. I'm sure there was a level of like attractiveness there because I mean I know her and like we're cool. You know what I'm saying? And we were like cool before and after all of this stuff happened, right? But yeah, she was willing to give up that little thing in between her legs. And thank God for divine intervention that it didn't happen.
Right.
Because that would have been super stressful once the confrontation happens of I need you to do this for me. Because for one, I'm gonna do it. But it's like, hey, work with me. Understand I will control what I can control. But don't burn me on stuff that I can't control.
Right. I'll do as much for you as I literally can.
And that probably would have turned into getting fucking car insurance paid because I would have just been at that point a time in my life I could not afford to be snitched on. It is what it is. And wow, that's a very vulnerable story that I've never told on this podcast.
Right.
But it's real stuff, and it changed the way that I approached attractive women in the workspace. Because to act like just because you may be in management that like the attractive chicks who want to curry favor with you because you're the boss, it doesn't make them any less appealing. Because if you take away that power dynamic, if you see her, you're shooting.
Right. If you met this person outside of work, you probably.
So the second story, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If we see her at the club or at the bar, we're shooting. Yeah. I'm saying, if we see her somewhere, we're shooting.
I'm shooting today. Yeah.
Shit.
Nigga, I saw the Snapchat the other day. I was like, okay, that's why I had to tell you, say something to you about it. I was like, she's looking good. She was looking good. She snapped back into it real quick.
Snap that pussy back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I say all of that to say anybody who hears this, yo man, don't shit where you sleep. So that means like, and one of the big things that Jason Whitlock talked about, because hey, we're Whitlock fans over here.
Yes, we are.
Like, don't think with your dick. That doesn't mean don't use your dick. But let your brain drive your dick to where it goes, not your dick drive your brain to where it goes.
Yep.
Think with your head.
That was such a big takeaway too from his podcast. And Grant, look, making fun of Joy and the peanut butter skin and the cans and the rack, like, yeah, that was great. It was great. But like at the same time, that was some real shit that he was saying. Like, it was so true. It's so true how sexual degeneracy and like penis thinking, that really is kind of what's going on out here. Everywhere that you look, there's in some form or fashion for a man, there is sex being sold to you. Literally. Bro, now, I'm not saying like, oh, you have to have sex with the person, but it's making you think with your penis.
It's Instagram, bro. Like my Explore page, it's filthy.
Oh, I know. Your Threads page is even worse.
No, it's disgusting. And like sometimes, bro, you really are just trying to like find sports news. And then you just got somebody twerking.
Tell you what, look, this is mine. Literally, as I pull it up, look at what's on here. There's Joy Taylor. There's somebody shaking some ass. Like this is what's on my Explore page.
I can't even show mine.
I mean, look at this.
Yeah, no, I can't show my Explore page because
yeah.
So I came across a breastfeeding video, like one, and now there's an breastfeeding video in my Explore page. So here's what's going on: women are out here breastfeeding, topless, and putting it on Instagram just to show off their tits on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I know what it is.
Right.
I know it's not about breastfeeding. I know it's about showing tits. I'm a man.
I think it's interesting that that's what pops up. But here, hold on. We got to hurry up and get to Joy because you know that they're going to kick me out.
No. Shut up. I'm sending something to you right now. Yeah, so let's get back. So let's get to Joy. So Joy was also implicated in this class action suit. Long story short, Joy Taylor was in a relationship with an executive at Fox and also in a relationship with Emmanuel Acho. And through those relationships, she was able to allegedly utilize those relationships to move up the chain at Fox. Because if you look at her career, she did some radio in Miami. She's the sister of a Hall of Famer, which is why most people thought she got her foot in the door and progressed faster than they thought she should. She starts off on Undisputed, the Big Show, the rival to First Take, Skip Bayless taking over FS1. Boom, right? She gets to be on that show. Then she leaves that show and goes to the Big Dog Show. She gets to go sit on the Herd. But while sitting on the Herd, she gets to interact with Colin, get some takes off, and do the news segment. So now she has 3 segments every day, or excuse me, every show that allows her to show off her chops. And as somebody who was a FS1 fan following it, I go, I mean, this kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, Joy, yeah. I mean, she goes from moderator to co-host, but like Colin doesn't have a B mic; he has like a F mic.
Sidekick, yeah, sidekick, really.
I mean, it's kind of like Robin. You know, he's not in all the Batman movies.
Right. Or even, like I said, even like sidekick, like Jimmy Kimmel is Guillermo, right? Like he has very few speaking roles, but he might get a segment or two. He goes out on the street and talk. Yeah.
And early on, Joy was really good on the show because if you know me, you know I listen to The Herd almost every day. He was really good. And then she wasn't so good. But then she gets a promotion to be a personality on the show with Emmanuel Acho. Now, mind you, this same show.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for Yourself, which was originally Colin and Whitlock when they started it. Colin left because we all know Colin wasn't trying to do all that extra shit. He just wanted to help the network get started. They bring in Marcellus. According to both Jason Whitlock and Marcellus Wiley, they were approached with a book on how they wanted to change the show. But when they were approached, it was at a time where the viewership was increasing exponentially, and they had the highest exponential growth on the network. So they're like, don't change our show. We've got it figured out. And I don't know if you remember, it was pretty much just a nigga show.
Yeah.
Whitlock, Marcellus, Eric Davis would be on there, TJ Hushmanzada, Bucky Brooks, the old uncle nigga. Like, it was really just some nigga shit. Yeah. But it was done classy. It was still TV, right?
Yeah.
And what Whitlock said, he was like, it was kind of like a Cosby Show dynamic. You got all these different black personalities. And I go, yo, that's fire, Whitlock. I really like that. And so, long story short, Joy and Acho devised a plan to get them a show, and Marcellus and Whitlock got terrible offers from FS1, so FS1 knew they would leave, and that's how they moved up. And this happened while these people were in the building, and Marcellus talked about it today, saying people were telling him in the building what Joy and Acho were doing, but because he had previous relationships with them and he's a competitor, he goes, if I'm good, I get to play. So he's like, I don't care. But now that but he didn't know about the relationship with the executive that Joy was having. So now it's like, oh, I might be able to sue these niggas. So that's the backstory. We got 5 minutes to kind of push through this. Are you shocked by this?
No, not at all. I know. I got like 2 minutes, right? Okay.
I'm not shocked either, and honestly, I think I alluded to this. And the most disappointing part about this is Joy getting on her high horse on her podcast, but then also her saying that if she loses her power, she's gonna say he forced himself on me.
And that is the part. That's the part where we're all laughing about. Like I said, Whitlock with the rack and the peanut butter skin is gold. Like the shit's gold. But ultimately, we need to chop that up as one too. That big rack, peanut butter skin. I know what I'm capable of.
I'll record that and put it in here.
Yeah, we do have to get that. But that is the most alarming part for real, because it happens far too often. Far too often. Like, does a man get drugged down because of allegations that aren't true? Look at Matt Ariza, the punter for the Chiefs.
Punter, yeah.
He finally got to get his NFL career started this year because somebody fucking said that he sexually assaulted them at a college party when he was at San Diego State, and he wasn't even there apparently, or something like that. And it's just nuts. But it blackballed him from the NFL. Then, luckily for him, he's one of the few that got exonerated from it. But there are plenty of men that are probably locked up that didn't do it, right?
And
like
there are guys
all the time.
And there are guys who have tarnished reputations for stuff that they didn't do, even if it didn't affect them legally or professionally. You know, and here's my thing. Blackmail me for what I did. I don't agree with it, but I can live with that, right? Blackmail me for what I did. But don't blackmail me for something I didn't do. Because now, don't take what we agreed to. Like, if you want to fuck your way up the ladder, fuck up the ladder. I don't care. If you want to hold that you fucked somebody and you know it can get them fired, but they knew that before they did it, cool. Hold it against them, because at the end of the day, we have to be accountable for our actions. Now, we don't want to be, but if we have to be, we have to be. But don't try to hold me accountable for actions that I did not commit. This was mutual. You want placement? I want pussy. Now, if you want to work your way, if you want to work, do it the old-fashioned way and just show that you're good, cool. It's gonna take longer. And again, you shouldn't do that professionally in management. You should not do that. But I'm real. It happens. But don't lie on me. Don't say we wasn't in this together. Don't burn me and you go off scot-free. No. Hell no. Now, if you get to stay on as talent because me as management violated something, cool. But hell no. Don't call me no rapist.
Yeah, and I think that was the most overlooked part about it, and why I think it's kind of weird that, and I get it, due process, innocent until proven guilty. Like, I'm all for it, but why is it that Joy? Now, Acho, I understand if he's still on the network, because I mean he just is named as somebody that was having sex. Now, granted, because they can't prove it yet, and I know that's probably against their work. Their code of conduct and stuff like that. You can't really do anything about him. But with her,
it's hard to prove insertion too.
Or worst case scenario, okay, pay both of them with like paid leave.
No, because
now it's a distraction though. But it's a distraction too.
But you set yourself up for more litigation if
isn't true.
If it isn't true, so you just ride the storm. But yeah. I say all of this to say, fuck Joy, because that lie just makes you just like a bad person to me. You know what I mean? And I think we should end it on this, because we got a few seconds left. Let me see. I know you got to get out of there. Let me see if I can get this to play real quick.
Know what I'm capable of, and that big rack of hers that she showed off constantly. It's just, and that peanut butter skin with that big rack. Like, Jay, keep your distance.
Hey, and last thing.
Was that a beat?
Yeah, it was.
Send me that.
Okay, how responsible is he to know that he needed to keep his distance?
He sounds like somebody that's been around the culture of it, and obviously I want everybody to continue, which I guess this is the end of the show.
You got 7 seconds.
But for those that do listen, you got to make sure you check out Whitlock and what he was saying. It was all gold, everything.
All right, hey guys, we love you. We're out of here.